Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at Apecoin and obviously help understand how much further this could go. And it did break to the upside as expected, so it's fantastic to hear. I hope that you were able to get in at that lower price point of $18 or $19. And we're going to see how much longer this could continue. So we'll go ahead and redraw the Fibonacci retracement levels and make sure we understand, once again, best practice and big picture. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, been teaching and trading for over 15 years. And my passion, my goal is to always help you become a better trader. So, if you want to become one, CryptoCache.tag is a site, link in the description below. I share signals for every trade that I take, albeit a little less signals lately based on the simple fact that we want Bitcoin to kind of give us that confirmation first. But I do provide you with every single trade that I take so you can learn how to structure your trades effectively, trading academy and community as well. Really awesome experience, and thank you so much to my current community members for just being as amazingly supportive as you have over the last months and actually years. It's not plural yet, it's just 1 year, but I started the channel in April of last year, and it's been a fantastic experience. So thank you again to everyone. That being said, looking here at Apecoin, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's happening. So it's continuing to maintain this trend line, and obviously until a trend breaks itself, then we want to continue to assume that it's going to keep happening. All right, so we're just going to keep basically provide this push this out a little further, because the likelihood of it coming up and over and possibly testing that again is quite high. I mean, it's inevitable for a trend line to be tested eventually, but the more often you test it, the more likely it is to continue to hold as a support, which is proven to do so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days now in this continuation pattern. It's been pretty amazing. And then of course we also see volume to back that up, right? So increased volume is extremely important. We start to see this volume taper off significantly. We might be able to see a turnaround from there, but it doesn't show that it wants to slow down. Okay, just seems like when Bitcoin does poorly, Ape goes sideways or up. When Bitcoin does well, Ape goes really up, and it's really cool to see. So this is a really awesome coin here, and let's just go ahead and talk about what happened yesterday. Right, it was somewhere in the range of like low 18s to mid 18s when I covered it last, and it looked like it was wanting to continue to progress higher. And the reason why I expected that, it was the fact that it was testing this resistance level 2 days in a row, and again a third time as well, and that there's only enough, you can only test a resistance level so many times before it breaks, right? And if you look back here too as well, the same thing happened. It tested here a few times and then inevitably broke. Test a few times, broke. So hypothetically, we could expect this trend to continue, and depending on wherever the next highest high is for Apecoin, that could be the place in which it's going to continue to retest itself. Okay, so it could be right there at the Fibonacci retracement level of just say $21.75. That could be the new high. But once again, this candlestick hasn't closed yet, so we don't want to do that yet. What we can do is we can also readjust our Fibonacci retracement levels to the most recent high here from yesterday, since that candlestick is closed. And it does show us that we have some range here, of course, and we're kind of traveling within this 1 to 1.272 Fibonacci level. So it's usually a good sign in a lot of ways. That's typically that price discovery, if you will, because we broke our all-time high, and that should essentially establish itself as a new support level. All right, so really all good stuff here in that sense. We are a bit on the overextended side on the RSI, but you got to keep in mind that when you break above RSI 70 on the daily specifically, it can oftentimes work as a support level. That being said, this were to kind of just come up and over and come down, a lot of times you'll see a bounce and the price continue higher, especially when you have a trend line forming like this. Now, we don't have enough data for a moving average, a simple moving average, but I'd be willing to speculate. Actually, I think there's a little bit of data, if I recall correctly. No, that must be on GMT. Yeah, so in other words, we don't have 50 days worth of trading data yet from Ape. Therefore, we can't really see what that moving average looks like, but oftentimes you'll see a moving average itself out with a trend line. We'll probably even see that on the 4-hour. So let's go ahead and take a look at that as a matter of fact. Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to here. In fact, that makes sense because we see this on a few others as well. But generally speaking, you see that this 50-day SMA working its way up. Same with the trend line too. So they're essentially working concurrently in a lot of ways, pushing the price action higher. Really cool to see that happen. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there. We're above both moving averages. Obviously, that's where we're at. Taking a look at TD sequential, we do need to acknowledge the important factor here, and that's what I was telling you, I believe yesterday, because we're at like a 4 or a 5, if I recall correctly. And I was speculating that, hey, if we go up to a 9, there could be a potential turnaround. Now, we didn't turn around at 9. Instead, we broke through that key level resistance. It acted as a support level, and then we continue to break higher. Okay, so you see here, comes up, almost exhausted, comes back down, bounces off of that previous resistance level at 1960, and continues higher. It's a very common characteristic for price discovery. When a price breaks this all-time high, it'll come back down to retest that level. A lot of times that's a great place to add to your position once more. That being said, hypothetically, you'd add to your position, you'd be up today a pretty decent percent, roughly about 10%. So again, very good little breakout here. It continues to happen, and it's more likely than not gonna happen again. Okay, I just wouldn't expect it to happen immediately. And the main reason why is, once again, we're at a 9 on TD sequential, basically telling us that we are a bit on the overextended side, and a pullback and or consolidation from here is a likelihood. So we should expect the price to actually probably go sideways, possibly retrace back down to just say $19.95, just say round number $20, and possibly bounce. It wouldn't be terrible if it came back down to test this level. Now, will it? Probably not. It looks like it has a decent amount of momentum, but if Bitcoin does end up having a subpar day, just say we get that gravestone candlestick and we close below 39,200, or just say 39, then we could experience something like this here from Apecoin. Okay, that would put us right back down here to this level. So I do feel like $20 is probably the relatively lowest point that we'll see from Apecoin in the immediate future, but it could happen. Right, so again, that previous resistance level will be tested again as a support, and we'll find out obviously when we get there, and we'll bridge that gap later. But for now, it's working itself into an ascending type of wedge once more, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a repeat behavior of this and or this right here. It just seems like it wants to do that. Just keep in mind though too, a lot of times things happen in threes. In other words, when you have like a retest, or just say you have an exhaustive state, it happens twice. The third time is oftentimes either a confirmation or a down. In other words, we have these two nice push ups, right? Well, this is a very nice push up here as well, but as it continues to do this over and over again, the less likely it is to happen later, if that makes sense. So in other words, breaking this next resistance level will be more challenging than this previous one, based on that simple sentiment that the more often times you try to test something, the more likely it is to break. But in this case, it's just, I just want to throw that out there as just some friendly advice, I guess you could say. I know it doesn't really seem all that relevant, but in general, just letting you know this, we could be losing momentum, because this is essentially the fourth leg up, if you will. We had 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So some strong legs up here, which is all well and good. But again, if this doesn't correct itself here soon, then we could expect the price to come back down. So again, a healthy correction down to $20 would be perfect. That's really what I'm looking for, because if it goes any higher than it is right now, we're definitely going to see an exhaustive state, and we don't want to see that. Again, looking pretty good here for the moment, but I would recommend consider trimming a little bit of your position. You don't have to go crazy, but take some profits while you can. We never truly know if this is the highest point which it'll go. I don't think so. I think it'll continue to increase essentially until something happens, and that something we don't know just yet. But until then, control what you can, and obviously be smart about your investment, and don't put everything into just one coin. Always a recommendation there. I cover this in my trading academy to make sure you understand how to become a better, more well-rounded trader, because there's a lot more to trading than just the technical analysis. It has a lot to do with your mindset and being kind of a stable person in general, and having a good stable foundation. That being said, Apecoin is looking amazing, and I think there's still likely for continuation, but just note, it's extremely overextended for the moment. We're about 40, 50 hours into this push, and the bears are going to want to take their profits soon. Just keep that in mind. All right, that's kind of where we're at there. So I hope you learned something here today. Thanks again for joining me. CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below if you want to become a better trader. I have a Signal group, trading academy, and community. Awesome experience. Thank you so much to all my current community members for just making my life amazing to be able to help you get where you need to go. I've had some very rewarding, messages recently letting me know that I'm playing an impactful role in your lives, and I thank you for that. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks again for everything and all of your support. Hope you have a great rest of your day. See you in the next one. Take care.